Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. Discussions regarding sovereignty, international law, and the interference of other states' internal affairs have resurfaced recently on Russian streets and social media. The reason for this? The arrest of Nicolas Maduro, which caused sincere outrage and a feeling of injustice among many Russians. So, not Ukraine, not Georgia, no, Venezuela. It seems like this stuff about casting out the beam from your own eye before attending to the speck of dust in the eyes of others was most likely redacted from the Russian edition of the Holy Bible, to protect the masses and all that.
Я считаю, что они беспределом занимаются, потому что нельзя лезть в чужую страну. Наглые американцы, они считают, что им все дозволено. Это у них постоянно происходит. Мамар Каддафи, это же их рук дело, правильно? И в основном всех таких нормальных президентов, которые с ними не сотрудничали, и они их убирают. Это давно уже известно.
Это политика. Это дело политики. Как нам, простым людям, это что судить? Конечно, неприятно. У каждой страны должен быть свой президент, и пусть они сами разбираются с своим президентом. Американцам за это не их дело.
Now, according to those surveyed, the United States is an aggressor, an imperialist state, and generally the world's policeman, probably not of the nice kind. Now, the arguments are pretty standard here. This is interference, this is a violation of international law, and you can't treat an independent state this way. Now, it is rather interesting that similar sentiments somehow disappear from the Russian information space when it comes to Bucha, Mariupol, or strikes on Ukraine's energy sector. In Russia's media landscape, the words, "you can't do that," suddenly turn into, "we had to. It was impossible otherwise," and "it is they who are to blame." Now, the sincerity of people's outrage adds a special charm to the whole situation. People say this without a hint of irony, as if they do not realize that they live in a state responsible for one of the worst examples of external aggression in all of the 21st century. Propaganda works so effectively that many people think Russia does not start wars, but rather reacts to them as their victim, a perennially aggrieved victim at that. When Russians condemn Maduro's arrest, they are not actually defending Venezuela. They are defending a model of the world where dictators cannot be touched if they are one of us, and where a change of power is only permissible with the Kremlin's consent, preferably made far in advance. Russians sincerely demand respect for sovereignty, but only for regimes that fit into their familiar, television-friendly worldview. Maduro's arrest frightens them, not as a precedent for intervention, but as a signal. If dictators can be dealt with so easily and quickly, then somewhere, someone already knows what to do to them, the Kremlin, next. Now, the first 10 days of 2026 in Russia were difficult. At least, if you believe Vladimir Solovyov, Russian television's main barometer for Kremlin hysteria. On air, he looked as if someone had cancelled New Year's Eve. The champagne had gone flat, and reality had once again failed to match Moscow's go-to script. Solovyov immediately identified what the main issue is, namely, a difficult war is underway. You see, not a special operation, not a geopolitical misunderstanding, but specifically a war. A word that, until recently, was considered almost extremist in Russia. Progress, as they say, is evident. But there is more. According to Solovyov, the problem is not that the war has dragged on, that Russia incurred one strategic failure after another, nor the fact that the second army in the world has been heroically storming the same positions for 3 years and counting. No. According to Solovyov, the problem is excessive humanity. Now, that's rather interesting. Let's see what this Russian stooge could possibly mean.
Очень смешно. Все очень здорово. А потом истерика. А потом сравнение. а потом переживания. Поэтому давайте, пользуясь формулировкой Владимира Ильича Ленина, посмотрим внимательно на то, что есть. И надо найти слабое звено, ухватившись за которое можно вытащить всю цепь. Первое. Идет война. Тяжелая. Если мы хотим в этой войне победить, нам надо четко и ясно формулировать. Нам надо уничтожать врага. Не только его инфраструктуру, не только выносить электростанции, что необходимо. Надо физически убивать больше людей, чем украинцы и их западные хозяева могут поставлять на линию фронта. Нельзя воевать на полшишечки. И я пытаюсь дать анализ первых 10 дней Нового года. Что мы видим? Я понимаю, почему Дональд Трамп говорит, вот мне сказали, а потому что он научен первым сроком. Он не может сказать, что россияне говорят правду, а разведка его, ЦРУ, лжет. А ЦРУ не может сказать правду, потому что за ударом по резиденции нашего президента стоит кто-то из американских экспертов.
Well, nothing like a call to genocide on live television. You know, Russia as a state of mind is such a cliche, but it's also true. Anyway, a separate segment of the broadcast was devoted to Donald Trump and the CIA. And here, Solovyov finally ventured into the realm of political fantasy. It turns out that Trump is learning on the job, intelligence is deceitful, no one can tell the truth, and, of course, American experts are behind the attacks on Putin's mansion. You know, the one attack that never actually happened? Yeah, that one. Exactly which experts is not specified either. Apparently the same ones who control the weather, the ruble exchange rate, and Solovyov's bad moods in the morning. You know, telepathy probably. Now, the picture that emerges is almost philosophical. Everything is being done the right way in Russia, but enemies are just too busy interfering with Putin's utopia. To believe Solovyov is to believe the Kremlin's insistence that there is an army of saboteurs out there to get Russia, that they are everywhere and anywhere, which means that they, the Russians, need to, that's right, eliminate even more people. The logic is ironclad. Judging by Solovyov's rhetoric, the main problem with the first 10 days of 2026 is not war, not human loss, nor the country's isolation, but the fact that reality still resists the all-encompassing hypnotic power of Russian television. But judging by the Russian broadcast's collectively heated tone, the propaganda machine has a plan. If facts do not match the picture, so much worse for the facts. And if the world does not want to conform to the Kremlin script, then the world is doing it wrong. And with this, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.